What is going on, beautiful people? It is Friday. We are 1 day away from the Wolves playing the Grizzlies in game one of the first round of the NBA playoffs. I am very nervous, very excited, very anxious as to what is going to transpire in this series. Jackson Borst is joining me once again to preview this massive series. This is a series that people are talking about as maybe the most entertaining series of all of them in the first round of the NBA playoffs. We're going to be discussing a bunch of things regarding Ja Morant versus Patrick Beverley, why D'Angelo Russell has had success, the chippiness of this series. We'll obviously get into our predictions, but it is going to be an elite episode. Let's go.
On a deep drop, steps up in the pocket. He'll fire to the right side. Caught by Diggs. Stay up. Oh my God! 30. No. 10. Touchdown!
Into deep left center from Mitchell, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl. Brutal. David Guthrie is right there. Didn't have the guts to call it. Also, and Malloy.
The Twins are going to win the World Series.
Now fires into the end zone. Caught! Edwards on the attack. And Ants can fly. Touchdown!
Ants
Off the feed. And Anthony Edwards showing that Ants can kill. No!
How did he get that one to go?
No!
Oh my goodness.
Carl Anthony Towns says, I want a piece of this Duck Fest.
What is going on, people? This is the Boldmore Sports Podcast. Like I said before the introduction, big series starting tomorrow against the Wolves and the Grizzlies. Borsty, how are you feeling today?
Feeling great, Tuck. Really can't wait. But I have a question for you.
Sure.
Are you going to be watching on Bally with Jim and Dave, or are you going to go ESPN?
This is tough to say because I am a fan of Dave Benz and Jim Peterson. But whenever the
Listening to
Wolves
them announce a playoff game would be electric.
I know. And you know what? You might be right. But the Wolves are just so seldomly on national television. And I like to hear what those people have to say about the Wolves because I love when I get national thoughts on what the Timberwolves are because it's so rare. But you might make a good point. I kind of want to listen to Dave Benz in the playoffs. He might have a heart attack.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to listen to them call a playoff game.
Dave Benz. There was a picture of Patrick Beverley standing on the scores table and Dave Benz in the background with his fist in the air. Before we start, I want to give a shout out to Wolves fans. The tickets went on sale yesterday at 10 a.m. They're all gone. There is not a single seat left in the first game 3, first home game. So I might be going. I am not sure yet. I wouldn't mind staying at home because I don't need to go. I mean, I experienced the play-in game. It's expensive. But maybe game 4 on a Saturday night. That would be electric. Let's get right into it. I want to talk about D'Angelo Russell. I'm going to go through a bunch of the players' statistics against the opposing team. Let's start with D'Angelo Russell. Check this out. Since he has joined the Wolves, he has averaged 23 points. He's had a 30-point game, a 28-point game, 29-point game, 37-point game. He's shooting 46% from the field, which is way better than his average. 41.6% from the 3-point line. I'll get to why I think he's had a lot of success against the Grizzlies. Why do you feel?
Honestly, I don't really have an answer for that. But I do know that bodes very well for this series because we've noticed that when D'Lo plays well, the team plays well. That's not always the case with Cat and Pat Bev and everyone, but it is with D'Lo for whatever reason. When he's playing well, that's an extremely good sign for the Wolves. And honestly, that's a huge asset this series.
I'll tell you what I think it is. Not a lot of teams play drop coverage defense in the NBA. The Wolves used to do it. They sucked at it. This year, they have changed to a high wall. Cat comes out on the pick and roll. He doesn't sit back. You remember, to give a great example of this defense, Cat against the Rockets in the playoffs, he would sag back on the pick and roll. He wouldn't know what to do. James Harden would either lay it up or just lob it to Clint Capella. So this is the first year that Chris Finch came in, and he has totally changed. It's not all Chris Finch. It's Elston Turner, the defensive guy on the coaching staff. But I wanted to show a highlight video of D'Lo against the Grizzlies when he scored 37 points. It was a little too difficult. I'm not very technically savvy, but I'll tell you this: he has never gotten to the rim more than in the games this year against the Grizzlies. He's not known as a guy that likes to attack the rim much, but watching that game, watching the previous games over and over again, why D'Lo had a bunch of success against the Grizzlies, he just got past Ja Morant. Whether it was him, Desmond Bane was covering him a little bit. And for some reason, a lot of teams that do play this drop coverage don't pay any attention to whether it's Jared Vanderbilt or Jaden McDaniel sitting in the corner. Steven Adams, who they put on him, Jaren Jackson on Cat. Steven Adams was like nowhere near the basket. I mean, I don't know what he was doing, and that totally cleared the lane for D'Lo. So I would guess they make that adjustment as to what other teams have been doing. But there's no doubt D'Angelo Russell could be in store for a big series based on what he has done this year. Another player, Anthony Edwards. Let's look at his stats. He's averaging 21.6 points, and that includes a game with 2 points and a game with 5 points. Look at the other games. He's had 30, 23, 27, 42, and 22. He's shooting 51%, 52% from the three-point line, and that includes an 0 of 6 in the last game they faced against the Grizzlies. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know who they're going to put on him that could possibly do it, although I will say this. And the next player I'm going to bring up is on the Grizzlies. Dylan Brooks hasn't played in a game this year. Yeah. He hasn't played in a game this year against the Wolves yet. He is their best defender by far. They are going to put him on Anthony Edwards, I know. So that may cause a little bit of issues, but it is a must because look at these numbers when they play. And sure, he had struggled against the Grizzlies in the last game, but that was when D'Lo went for 37. So he didn't get many shot attempts. I mean, what did he go? Okay, 1 for 11. That's awful. But he clearly didn't get into a rhythm due to D'Lo going off. But Anthony Edwards is going to be a huge factor for the Wolves because when he is on, now I don't think he's going to have the ball in his hands quite as much as he did in the Clipper game because Cat was such a non-factor.
Such a non-factor.
What are your thoughts on Ant in this series and what he could do to get the Wolves past the Grizz?
Yeah, so I joined a call yesterday, or not a call, but it was kind of like a live stream where listeners can like chime in, and it was with Johnny Athletic on the Athletic app, and
your favorite.
I got called on, and I asked him. I said, "Do you think we're going to see the Ants from the Clippers game, or now that Cat is going to be, definitely more of a factor now? Do you think we're going to see a more passive Ants and kind of let Cat, run the show on the offensive end?" And he said he thinks it's going to be like a little bit of both. Like he still thinks we're going to see aggressive Ants, but it'll probably go back to how it was with Cat because Cat matches up very well against the Grizzlies, and he did say about Dylan Brooks guarding Ant that probably isn't the best matchup for him, but he still thinks that Ant plays best under the big lights on prime time, so he thinks that he's going to be ready to go. And I don't know, but he said that all eyes are definitely going to be on Towns.
I agree, and if the Grizzlies for some stupid reason put Steven Adams on Karl Anthony Towns, that would be fantastic because Cat not only dominates big men one-on-one, but Steven Adams, he has torched him in the past. Steven Adams doesn't like to come out to the three-point line. So if that happens, if they put Jaren Jackson Jr., that would be a much smarter, and that's what I expect to happen because he is going to probably be all defensive.
That won't be
first
for the
team.
whole series, though. I don't think one person's going to guard him.
I
the entire
agree.
Series, no matter who it is.
I agree. And that'll be from both sides. The only thing that I really do see is I do think Dillon Brooks will always be on Anthony Edwards. Unless he's really struggling and maybe they put him on D-Lo if he's going off. But let's look at Dillon Brooks because he's always been known as a Wolves killer. He's not a big scorer, but check this out. He's had big games against the Wolves in his career. He's had a 31-point game, a 26-point game, a 28-point game. He shoots 52% from three in his career against the Wolves. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, if you look at Dillon, and believe me, if you look at Dillon Brooks' stats other than against the Wolves, he doesn't put up numbers like this. Like those games, Jim Pete and Dave Benz love to point out how much he is a Wolves killer. And I think if he could be an X factor on the offensive end for that team. Now, I do think they have a bunch of X factors. They just have a bunch of good role players. Like Desmond Bain is better than a role player, but Zaire Williams, D'Anthony Melton, Kyle Anderson, Dillon Brooks, like I mentioned, all of those guys can be huge X factors if any of them just have a huge game.
Yeah.
Ja Morant versus Patrick Beverley. This has been a huge talking point for the media. I was listening to the Grizzlies. It's the Chris Vernon show. I'm not sure if you know who Chris Vernon is.
Okay.
But he sort of covers the Grizzlies in an aspect. He has the Chris Vernon show is basically a Grizzlies podcast, but they were complaining about the media asking Ja Morant. Basically, all Ja Morant was asked in his press conference yesterday was about Patrick Beverley, and Ja Morant seemed fed up about it. It's clear that the media
getting in his head.
They're trying to push this narrative because you know what Patrick Beverley is going to do, and I'm not sure he's going to always cover Ja Morant because he could.
Do you think he's going to guard him? Is that
he will at times? Definitely, he will at times. I also see Anthony Edwards guarding him. I don't think Vando would cover him. He has tended to cover best players on other teams, but Ja might be a little too quick for him. I think Pat and Ant will be the two main guys on Ja Morant. How chippy do you think this freaking series can get? Like, I feel like there might be a record number of technicals. I mean, the buildings, the FedEx Forum and Target Center are going to be electric because these teams are both so confident. They play with so much swag. They are not afraid to talk, especially, I mean, Cat has become a talker this year. Pat Bev's clearly a talker. Ant doesn't back down. And then on their team, from what I hear, Dillon Brooks is the most confident person of all time, and Ja Morant's not scared of anyone. So I would not be surprised if I see an ejection. I wouldn't be surprised if I see a million technicals. Huge thing here is who are the referees going to be? I looked this morning. They have not announced them yet.
It's not going to be them. It's not going to be them. I can guarantee you it will not. They're probably going to go to like Miami, whoever they play, like Miami, Cleveland or something.
I know. I just think it could be a huge X factor based on Cat. If he can stay out of foul trouble,
remember, we're all here to watch Scott Foster. Okay, guys.
Well, that's what he lives for. Scott Foster lives for people looking at him making a horrible call. That's what he lives for.
Scott Foster, greatest hits.
And the Wolves fans and Wolves players, I guess, worry about Cat and foul trouble. From what I hear and the numbers, Grizzlies fans are the same with Jaren Jackson. He fouls a ton. And so it's not just Cat in this series. If the Wolves can get Jaren in foul trouble, that takes a huge defensive key off the floor for them. I don't worry about him that much offensively other than getting on the glass.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They're not a great three-point shooting team, but they're unbelievable on the offensive boards. That's what killed us last time. I mean, we ended up winning the game, but the amount of offensive rebounds that Memphis got, it wasn't even funny. It was insane.
Well, they rank first in offensive rebounding, and I'm not sure if the Wolves still rank dead last in defensive rebounding, but they're damn close to it. So that is basically the series. I mean, that's basically the series. If the Wolves can rebound the basketball, they have a legit shot. If they can't, they're going to lose.
Yes, exactly. For both sides.
Another thing is transition. Both teams like to run. The Grizzlies rank, I hope I get this right, first in steals, third in turnovers caused. Wolves, opposite, first in turnovers caused, third in steals. And so both teams turn the ball over. The Wolves cause turnovers. The Wolves turn the ball over a lot more than the Grizzlies do. The Grizzlies are fifth least in turnovers per game out of all teams in the NBA. So if the Wolves can turn them over, get out and run, the Grizzlies like to do the same thing. I will say this. The Grizzlies' half-court offense is not that good. You'd be surprised. They don't shoot the three very well. They can get very, very reliant on Ja Morant. And if he's not cooking, they can go stale. It's sort of the same thing with the Wolves offense. When they're not hitting shots and not moving, they can go very stale. So this is going to be an up and down affair. The over-under is very high.
So when it comes to Ja, like, what are you scared of? Like,
honestly, I'm not that scared. You know why? Because he hasn't done well against the Wolves, so I haven't experienced. The first game of the season, he sort of put him on their back in the fourth quarter. But other than that, I'm not that worried because what I saw from Anthony Edwards when he guarded him, Ja Morant couldn't do anything. I mean, anything.
Like, this is the playoffs now. So, I'm just saying, like,
that doesn't change. That doesn't
what
change
are his
his
strengths.
Well, his strengths are driving and in transition.
Explosive. Yeah.
Very, very explosive. And that's why I think Pat Bev might have trouble because Pat Bev's not the quickest. He can get into the person, but Ant-Man, he can stay in front of just about anybody. And that's why I love that matchup for the Wolves. The difference is all these role players, like I said. Can D'Anthony Melton knock down threes?
Who guards Ant? Dylan Brooks?
Yep.
Who does Ja guard?
Well, he guarded D'Lo a little bit in the last game. I don't know. I mean, if Beasley's out there, maybe he's on him. Ja's not their best defender by any stretch of the imagination. It's Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson. Those are the two guys they rely on defensively. So, man, it's interesting. I am.
Do you think they're going to throw Desmond Bane on Cat?
No, it's going to either be Jaren or Steven Adams. Desmond, no. They haven't done that at all for some reason. I mean, I don't think Desmond Bane's not tall enough. Like, if the teams put smaller guys on Cat, but they're not 6'5" like Desmond Bane.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, Cat can just shoot right over him. It's like when Nicholas Batum is on him, you can't necessarily just shoot right over him because he's only 2 inches shorter.
I didn't see it. I don't see it. I was just wondering if there's maybe an outside shot. But
no, because then who are you putting Jaren and Steven Adams? I mean, you're going to put Jaren Jackson on Cat because he's your best defender.
Yes. And not on Vando.
No, that's where Steven will go. The big New Zealander. What else are your biggest thoughts on this series? Is it Ja versus Pat Bev? Is it the D'Lo X factor? Is it the role players? Is it the coaching matchup? Both these guys were excellent coaches this year, Taylor Jenkins and Chris Finch. Is it the home crowds? Like which crowd can pull their guys through? What do you think it is?
Yeah, so I have like 3 things. I don't really think it's the crowd. I'm not going to go there right now. I think it's I hate to be so generic, but honestly, I do think Cat is number 1. I mean, what the hell? Like, is he actually going to bring it this time?
I disagree with you, but go on.
Number 2, I have X factor or shooting. Beasley. Is he going to hit the threes like he did against LA, which were huge, huge? That's what I have as my number 2. And number 3, I have X factor D'Lo. And we talked about it earlier in the show, but I'm just saying you can't understate how big he was in that Clippers game. When Cat goes down, he became like, oh, so this is why we're paying him this much. That's kind of how it went. Because you said he'd been playing so bad the previous 2 months. And he comes in and he starts making all these great shots and he's keeping us in it. And it's like, oh, okay. So I realize it now.
Yeah. He just seems like a big game hunter. And that's why I'm just confident in him. Like all I had to see was one game in one big game. And now I'm just feel like he can control this offense in any way he really wants to. The reason I disagreed with you on Cat being the most important is because what happened in the last game. He was so bad, and they still won. I think Anthony Edwards, if they want to win this series, is the most important player. Because I don't
disagree. I don't
think Cat can carry this team to a series. I think Anthony Edwards can. I really do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just wondering, like, do you think this is a situation where, I mean, I talked to you about this when we were, at the game, but, like, do we win that game if Cat isn't in foul trouble?
No. And Ty Lue said that after the game. He said Cat went out, and then they started struggling because they had such a good game plan for him, and then they didn't really know what to do with Nas.
Yes. So basically, they put all their chips into the Cat thing, which they did.
Yep.
And they and that was great. But they didn't really focus on any other of the other aspects. So my question is Memphis doing the same thing, or are they preparing for Ant, D'Lo, Beasley?
I think they're doing more of all the players because D'Lo has killed them more than Cat this year.
Well, then I gotta be honest with you, that tells me right there. I think Towns is gonna have a big series.
I agree. I totally agree. I'm just saying I don't think he's the most important player.
He
can definitely go off. He can definitely go off for 30 points. I don't think he is going to carry this team for whatever reason. There's been more games this year where Anthony Edwards has carried the team to a win, whether it was in Portland, Golden State, he had 48. They nearly came back and won that game. There's more games. But Cat, I guess the Spurs game where he had 60, but that's the Spurs. They give up 50 to every team.
I mean, let's not act like he doesn't, run this offense.
Everything goes through him.
You know how many times I've texted you that when he has gone off the floor, everything has gone to crap.
I agree. He is a gigantic part of this offense. He is not what can carry this team. He can keep the team in it. Ant is going to be late game. It's tough to get a big man the shots. It just is.
Yeah.
It's a guards game.
Which brings me to this. We're down by 1 or we're down by 2. There's 15 seconds left. Who's taking it?
Well, depends on who's going that night, but it's probably Ant or D'Lo.
Not Cat.
No, probably not.
I do not think D'Lo's taking that shot.
I mean, he has this year. There's one game where they gave Cat the ball. That was the Knicks game when he got that and one. Other than that, D'Lo has taken a bunch of late shots this year. Ant, not quite as much, but it's been D'Lo more than any other player hitting the crunch time shots.
This is going to happen. That is going to happen. We're going to be down by 2 points with 20 seconds left. You just know it's going to happen.
I agree. Yeah.
It'll probably happen a few times.
And I think it's whoever's going. It could be Cat. He's done it. It depends on who's going that night, in my opinion.
And who's on the floor in that situation?
Well, if they're down by 2, I'd say probably Beasley's out there.
Yeah, I was going to say. Over Vando.
It's probably D'Lo, Ant, Beasley, Cat.
Pat Bev.
Maybe Pat Bev, but that's basically four small guards and Cat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the lineup because those guys are all scorers besides Pat Bev.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thought. And
it is.
What's your prediction for the series right now?
I mean, I could see it going either way. I really could, but I'm going to go Grizzlies in 7.
All right.
But what do I want to happen? And I still think it could happen. I still could see Wolves in 7.
I don't think Wolves win in 7. I think it'd be Wolves in 6. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, but if you had to ask me, I do think it'll go 7 games. And that's a toss-up game. I want the Wolves, but I'll just go Grizzlies in 7.
I like Wolves in 6. I think the Wolves match up excellent against this team. I will say this. Tomorrow's game, if the Wolves lose, it's not the end of the world.
No.
Because there's been so many times.
Of course not.
where teams win the first game. Grizzlies last year against the Jazz. They come out and beat the Jazz in the first game. Jazz win 4 straight. So winning the first game, losing the first game is sort of just getting the feel for each other.
Yeah,
obviously, it'd be
it
great
really
if you
is.
win.
It's just getting a feel. Yeah.
It'd be great if you win. If you can go 1-1 coming home. But if they lose, it's not a big deal. Now, you probably have to win the second game then. But maybe the Grizzlies
still
are confident
not the
after
end.
they win.
It's still not the end if you go 0-2. I still don't think it is.
I agree, because the Wolves are 2-0 against the Grizz on the home court this year.
Yeah. But yeah, it's obviously huge to get one at their place, which I think they will.
It would be. Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know what to bet for tomorrow's game. Like, I don't know where to go. I don't know if I should ride D'Lo, bet Cat, I don't know, maybe Ant as well, or who to take. I mean, this is a complete stay away.
I stay away from Anthony Edwards in game 1, because I don't know how much having Dylan Brooks for them will impact his scoring. I think I would, if I were to pick a player, I'd say Cat for points.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he's going to score a lot of points.
Buzzing.
Yeah. But I don't like betting. I don't bet on the Wolves because I jinx them. So.
All right. Well, what are your thoughts on the other games?
Let's see here. We got. Well, you want to? Tonight, Paul George is out for the Clippers. I think you know what? Really, I'm going to make a bold statement. Just real quick. We don't have to talk about these games long at all. The Clippers are still going to win without Paul George against the Pelicans.
Yeah.
They are a veteran group. They've played without him all year long, basically. They're going to win. The Hawks are going to beat the Cavs. I think that's a public play, but I think they win. Tomorrow, Jazz Mavs. Luka is out, but they're at home. You go first. I don't even know. I haven't even really thought about these games.
This one's the hardest because of Luka, obviously. Yeah. I don't know. I'll go Mavs though. Still at home.
All right. Jazz are 4.5-point favorites. Wolves Grizz, they're 6.5-point favorites. Would you take the Wolves plus 6.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Raptors Sixers. Raptors are 4.5-point underdogs on the road. I would like the Raptors.
I like the Raptors in the series, but I think the Sixers are going to take game 1.
Okay. Last game of the night, 7:30. It's Nuggets Warriors. Warriors are 6.5-point favorites. I like the Warriors.
I do too. Warriors.
That's
my favorite, like, most confident one of the night is Warriors.
Yeah, I don't think Nikola Jokic can keep doing everything.
No.
At some point, somebody's going to have to help him. Sunday, right now, there's only 2 games official. It's Nets and Celtics. I like. Who do you like? I don't even know.
I think the Nets take game 1
on the road.
Yep.
I think it's a down to the wire game. So I would take the Nets plus 4.5, but I don't know who wins. Bulls, Bucks easy.
Yep, Bucks.
All right. Well, any parting thoughts for Wolves Nation ahead of tomorrow's game?
Well, I just think it's going to be fun to watch. I really do. I think I kind of think it's going to be weird, obviously, because we haven't seen it much, but I'm done talking about that. I'm done talking about the second time I'm done talking about that, but I just think it's going to be really fun.
There's no doubt it's going to be a freaking blast, and I'm going to be on pins and needles watching this damn game. Even though I just said game 1 doesn't matter that much, it still feels like it matters because it's a playoff game, and the Wolves don't. Yeah. I don't experience this. I don't know how to handle it. I'm going to be freaking out. If they win, I'll freak out. That would be massive, even though it might not be massive because they could lose 4 straight after that. But let's freaking go, Wolves. We'll be pregame tomorrow at games at 2:30. like noon. We'll do a pregame at noon. Hopefully the YouTube works. Are you available at noon? I know Chuck is. I know Chuck is. So no matter what, we will have
I will be there. Maybe not the pregame tomorrow, but I will be there for the postgame.
Money. All right. Well, people, we appreciate.
And we'll be texting.
Oh, of course. We appreciate everybody listening to this Wolves Grizz first round preview. Watch on YouTube. Give us a like, maybe a subscribe if you want to. Tell a friend, tell a family member. Everybody have a great Friday night. Peace